What's up? Josh here. So these are the Airpods Maxes. You probably already know that going into this video, and you're trying to figure out whether they're worth it 3 years later. Well, I just picked these up a couple of months ago from a good friend of mine, Jimmy. In this video, I'm gonna dive into everything I learned about these headphones, what I like, what I don't like, and whether they are gonna be right for you. Let's get into it. Now, the first thing I'll talk about is something that they got right, and that is the build quality. So everything about these is really well built. From the stainless steel frame with these telescoping arms that are nice and smooth to the aluminum ear cups, the build quality on these is unmatched. And part of that has its own cons. So one thing that I've heard a lot of is that the Airpods Maxes are too heavy, and that is true for some people. I gave these to my friend who has a much smaller head than I do. She's just a very petite person. And when she put this on, after about 10 to 15 minutes, she started experiencing some fatigue. For me, I'm a 6-foot guy, and so these work perfectly fine. As long as you're not moving around, these are pretty well balanced on your head. For me, I can keep these on for like 8 hours a day. It's really no problem, super comfortable, and we'll talk about comfort a little bit later, but first, I want to talk about the controls. It's really just 2 buttons. There's no power button. So there's the digital crown, which you can press in to play and pause and skip your music and all that stuff. And then you can also turn the digital crown to change the volume on it. On the other side is the noise control button. So you can press this to toggle between noise cancellation and transparency mode. And the one thing that I really like on this headphone is the fact that you can press both of these buttons at the same time. Now, typically the thing with other headphones is it's really hard to press both of these things at the same time. Like if you wanted to both pause your music and turn on transparency mode, I think on the Sonys, it's like a tapping for the pause and then a button on the side for the transparency mode. And so what Apple has done here is pretty clever, is the fact that you can press both of these buttons at the same time to both pause your music and turn on transparency mode at the same time. If somebody were to come up to you, want to talk to you, or if you just want to become aware of your surroundings and also pause your music, press both of these buttons at the same time. And that is a really cool feature that nobody else has talked about. Now let's transition over to comfort. So this mesh headband is also something innovative that I don't think I've seen in any other headphones. Personally, I'm a huge fan of the mesh. I do see that there is potentially some concern for longevity. So in case there was a rip, maybe your dog got to your headphones or something sharp was in your backpack and just ripped the mesh. I did look into this. Apple charges about $100 to replace the mesh, which honestly isn't terrible. At least you don't have to buy another whole set of headphones. The other thing with the headband is that they don't create any sort of pressure points because it is all suspended. And so on the XM5s, what I found is that since this headband is so thin, it sort of does dig into your head after a couple of hours of use. That's not the case with the AirPods Maxes. And that also extends to the ear cups. So the thing with faux leather ear cups on other headphones, like on the XM5s, the Boses, I think those all use faux leather ear cups. And what I found is that after 2 years, they tend to wear out and start tearing. And so there's 3 things that I really like about these mesh ear cups. The first one is the breathability. So since they're made of mesh and not of faux leather, they are extremely breathable. The second thing I like is the durability aspect. So like I said, faux leather will peel over time, especially with moisture. They don't really do well with that stuff. So this mesh material is quite nice. And then the third thing I like about these ear cups is how deep they are. So I'm just gonna do a quick measurement here. So on the XM5s, it is about 3/4 of an inch or 2 centimeters for the rest of the world from the edge of the ear cup to the drivers. And then on the AirPods, it's almost 1¼ inches or about 3 centimeters from the edge of the ear pads to the drivers. And what I found is that they are just way more breathable with how deep they are, which leads to a more comfortable experience overall. Now, moving over to the smart case. There's no way around it. There is nothing smart about this smart case. It is literally just a bra with magnets in it. Now, the one thing I'll say is that I actually don't mind the design of it. Like, sure, it doesn't come with a full like hard case that a lot of other competitors come with, but it does protect most of the headphone. Yeah, I don't mind it. And the thing is, the AirPods Maxes are built so well that I really don't mind chucking these in my backpack. The thing I don't like though is that you have to put them in the case for them to turn off. And already the AirPods Maxes have a 20-hour battery life, and that isn't great. And so it's even shorter if you leave them out. They take a while to enter into that low power state mode without putting them in the case. And honestly, if I'm just around my house and I'm not going anywhere, I'm not gonna wanna put them in the case every time I want them to go to sleep. That just seems like a huge hassle to me. Now, all of that would be fine with me. Like, okay, I might be getting a shorter battery life, but I'll just plug it in more often. The thing that really irks me is that if you leave these out for any extended period of time, like longer than a day or even a couple of hours without putting them in the smart case, they will sometimes disconnect from all of your devices. And so imagine you finish work for a day, you set these on your desk, and then the next day you come back to your desk, you put these headphones on and they don't connect. And what you have to do is reset them. And the way to reset them is to hold both of these buttons for about 5 seconds. They sort of turn off and then reboot, and then they connect. And I gotta say, that is the most frustrating thing about these headphones, is the fact that you have to put them in this case for them to fully turn off. And if you don't, they might disconnect from all of your devices, which requires a full reset for them to work again. That is super frustrating. Now, transitioning sort of to more pros of these headphones, noise cancellation and sound quality, they are probably top of class. I did another video recently comparing the noise cancellation on the AirPods Maxes, the XM5s, and the Bose Ultra headphones. And the Bose Ultras are the newest of the bunch, and so they performed like really well. But not too far behind were the AirPods Maxes, and I'd say these perform exceptionally well and definitely still hold up in 2024. I have no complaints with the noise cancellation. Yeah, sometimes I'll hear a little something going on in the background, but for the most part, they really do get the job done, and you're gonna be extremely happy with it. Now, in terms of transparency mode, top of the line, best in class. You're not gonna get a better transparency mode experience. I'm not gonna say it's like you're not wearing anything, but it's almost like that, like maybe 95% there. And then the sound quality. So these don't support lossless, which is a huge shame. Even if you buy the, I think, $25 cable that is lightning to 3.5 mil and plug that into your computer on Apple Music with lossless enabled, these won't support lossless. That being said though, these are probably among the best wireless headphones I've ever heard. They have a really good bass response. That is probably one of the best things about these headphones, is the bass. Like, they sound really clear, really good, really boomy, and just super immersive, especially with spatial audio, which I'm using more and more of. So if you're worried about any of that stuff, the noise cancellation, the sound quality, like, do they hold up 3 years later? Hands down, I can say yes, these are still among the best of the best. And then of course there is all of the ecosystem stuff, which is another one of my favorite features. So I live in an apartment, and sometimes I just cannot blast music at like 1 a.m. in the morning, or maybe even watch a movie at night if you want to have like the full surround sound experience with a subwoofer and everything else. Having these automatically switch not only from my iPhone to my MacBook and vice versa, but also if I get off of my computer, hop on my couch while still wearing these on, I just tap a button on my Apple TV remote and these instantly connect. And I know you might not live in an apartment, but maybe you have kids, or you have roommates, or maybe people have an earlier bedtime that live in your house. Just having the option to be able to watch something with the full surround experience with spatial audio and not bothering anyone, that is a huge feature of the AirPods Maxes, and of course the Apple TV and the whole ecosystem. And I haven't tested this, but there is like this share audio feature on the Apple TV, where if maybe your partner or your friends had AirPods Pros, I think maybe you could connect 2 devices to the Apple TV, and then now you're both enjoying in silence. But yeah, really, at the end of the day, 3 years later, I can confidently say that I have no regrets picking these up. These have replaced my Sony XM5s, and not that there's anything wrong with the XM5s, it's just that with the Apple ecosystem, it's just the better option. Now, are these still worth it at $550 3 years later? I'm gonna say Yes. That is a really tough question to answer. I mean, $550 is so much money to spend. You've got the Bose Ultras coming in at about $430, but then if you're thinking of getting that one and then these, it's like, what's another $100 more? And then the XM5s, I mean, these are, I've seen them at like $330. And so at $200 less, yeah, that's tough. Here's what I'll say. If you can afford these are gonna be pretty good and you probably will keep them for like years and years to come, especially with all of the durability stuff. Like I said, with the stainless steel, aluminum, and the replaceable ear cups, these are gonna last you for years and years to come. Yeah, there are some annoyances, especially with the smart case and them disconnecting sometimes, but at the end of the day, overall, it has been a really good experience. Now, two things I wanna mention is one, there are a lot of fakes of these out there. So I also have another video up where I investigated this whole fake situation, and you should go watch that video to avoid falling for these scams. The second thing I'll say is that if you do wanna take these to the gym, or if you sweat a lot on your ears, there are these silicone covers made by Wicked Cushions. I think these are like 20 bucks, which you can pretty easily just slap onto the headphones, and that way you're not getting them all sweaty and disgusting. And then also, if you wanna pick up a stand, this one's by Banks. I'm pretty sure this one's also like 20 bucks. But yeah, that's it for my AirPods Max review. 3 years later, they're still really good. I'll have links below if you wanna use them to support the channel. Subscribe if you wanna see more tech videos, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.